Welcome to the video, people. Today what we're going to do is venture into my past and kind of go over the ups and downs that my fitness journey has had and what I was actually doing inside the gym and out to actually have the physiques I'm going to show you. So what we're going to do is go through the highest and lowest weights. So obviously when I was super fat and when I've been lean, and kind of going over my mindset at the time. And I thought it'd be a good thing to do, especially as a lot of you subscribers watching my videos are virtually brand new. So some of you probably have never seen any of these clips of me in the past. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. What's good, people? My bulk finishes in 2 days, February the 15th. So if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna get a chance again. Before we carry on, let me just say right here, actually I'll let it play in the background. What I will say is right here, this physique now, all I'm thinking in my head is, boy, man, look fat. Like, I'm telling you, it just is a different physique. Like, I can't even believe it's me when I look back on it. Just look at it. Look at the close-up of my face. It's just so meaty and chunky. But I more or less start saying this is me at the end of my bulk. So I'm going to do a 10,000 calorie challenge to celebrate like the end of the bulk. Like, that's a great thing to do. It was for YouTube reasons, but YouTube challenges aside and all that stuff, getting to this level of body fat, even if today is the very last day of my bulk, whatever I said, is too far. Like, you don't need to get that heavy to build muscle. Let me just put that out there right now. Yes, like, I did build muscle during this process, but I didn't need to get this heavy. I could have definitely, for example, I was around 182 pounds here. I could definitely have probably stayed around, at this point, 176, maybe 178 pounds at the highest. Stayed around that sort of weight while training and still would have been able to build muscle. You don't need to constantly just keep getting fatter and fatter and fatter to build muscle. You know what I mean? As long as you're not in a depleted state when you're in a deficit, you should be able to build muscle if you keep effectively improving your workout routine. So watching me here with this fat face, you know what I mean, joke around, stuffing his face full of, you know, chips and what. But that stuff aside, in regards to my actual physique and the training and stuff like that, training, I was still doing a push-pull leg split repeat. So I was training 6 days a week at this point. Even though I looked so chunky, I was still doing that. I don't believe I was doing any cardio, which is a big mistake during a bulk. You should definitely do some form of cardio just to keep your heart healthy, especially if you're gonna do like a stupidly big bulk like this. You need to make sure your heart health is on point. Don't overlook that. But one thing I will state is, I always get asked a lot, is even during these big fat states, these heavier bulking face states where I look chunky as hell, I'm still training my abs. So for those of you that always message me and saying, should I train my abs when I'm bulking or should I only train them when I'm lean? You train them year round like every other muscle. It doesn't make sense for you to avoid it like the plague, and then when you're getting leaner to then start training them, it's stupid. That'd be like if you said to someone, should you train chest only when you're lean? Of course not. It's a muscle group, you train it year round with weights as well, and they will build up and progress. When you're bulking, in theory, if you're training your abs, you're more likely to be able to build muscle potentially quicker, even though you can't see your abs due to all the body fat. But yeah, so make sure you train your abs, just like Fat TJ, I'm gonna call him Fat TJ, like Fat TJ was doing here. But yeah, it's like looking at a shadow of myself. Like, I will never, ever, ever on earth let myself get to that state unless something tragically wrong has happened. Let me know what you think of the physiques. This or the next physique I'm going to show you is, I think, my worst shape, like my highest body fat levels. Like, the next one I'm going to show you is roughly around a similar weight, but I feel like my composition may be better because it's 3 years later, because I'm 184 pounds, but I don't think my face looks as fat as the first time around because I probably got more muscle on my frame as well. But even this physique here at 184 pounds, you don't need to get to that level to build muscle. But yeah, before we move on to like some of my leaner body weights now, here is the two physiques side by side. So you got 182 pounds, which was around 2016, and 184 pounds, which was 2020 or 2019, something along those kind of realms. And those are the two physiques side by side. You let me know which one probably looks the worst, left or right. But anyways, now let's move on to some of the more leaner looking physiques and kind of review those and what I actually was doing to get to those states. This footage here, if I remember correctly, this is 2018, and this is when I did the summer shredding thing that Christian Guzman does, like the online, you know, summer shredding thing when you get lean and you send him a picture or a video and you go into a competition. I actually did end up going down to the final 150 and got a prize, some alphalete vouchers. Anyways, this physique here, I think it still looks pretty good. If I remember correctly, I was training, I think, 5 to 6 times a week here. I think I was doing push-pull legs, upper, lower. So I was doing 5 days a week and then cardio mixed in there. And the cardio I was doing was more long form stepper, so the stepper machine. So I was doing that probably 3 times a week. At the very end stages when I'm like this sort of level, I think I was doing it at least 3 times a week for 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how long I stayed on it. I did get to a point where I could watch like whole Prison Break episodes, like 2 of them in a row, and like burn like over 400 calories. It took me like over an hour and something, but I was dripping in sweat. But that's the sort of like agonizing kind of gains I was doing to get to this sort of physique here, which I am quite proud of, to be honest. I still think it looks pretty good, but I feel like it did require a lot of work and a lot of maintenance to get to that level, which is why I guess the average person doesn't look like that. But I still feel like my next physique, I personally feel like looks better. The weight is a similar weight, may even be heavier actually. I think here I'm 161 pounds. The weight I'm going to show you next is 163. But I've had a different training split, a different way of doing cardio, and it's also, I think, 2 to 3 years later, so there is going to be a little bit difference in body composition because of 3 years later. You should hope that you've built some more lean muscle on your frame. If you haven't built any sort of lean muscle on your frame in 3 years, you're probably doing something wrong, whether it's your diet or your training shit. Alright, so these are clips of me here from last year, so just before, I think, you know, COVID happened and lockdown happened. So I was around 163 pounds, I think was the lowest I got to. And these are just some clips and some footage of me at that weight. I do feel like here I look better than the ones prior, but you guys can vote because the other weights was lower, so they were lower weight on the scale. But in terms of body composition and muscle mass and just the overall aesthetic look of my physique, I feel like this is probably my best physique. And this was achieved with a much different sort of routine. So I was training actually 4 times a week at this point when I was this lean, which is crazy. I was doing less days than before, but I was doing more cardio, but low intensity versions of it. So even though both forms of cardio I was doing was LISS, just like steady state, similar pace throughout the whole thing with the stepper I was doing before, this time round what I decided to do was buy a treadmill for my house, and every day before work I would do around like 30 to 40 minutes on the treadmill, just walking at a very quick pace. I never jogged, I never ran. That was the kind of thing I did while doing 4 days training of weights, you know what I mean? And then the odd rest day, I'd potentially do like an hour in total of cardio. But for the most part, that physique was built with 4 days of weight training and just more cardio, but it's lower state, more times a week. So instead of doing 3 to maybe 4 sessions on the stepper, going all out, I was doing more like 6 to 7 days per week, but 30 minutes of low intensity cardio on a treadmill, watching YouTube videos. And that happened to build that physique. So that to me was a much more achievable and sustainable physique. So regardless of physique aside, whether which one you feel like looks better, it was definitely the physique that I can definitely see myself more likely to maintain. Like the years prior when I was doing the summer shredding thing, I would never be able to stick to that amount of cardio. And even the amount of calories at that point. I think when I was doing the summer shredding, I think I got down to doing 1800 calories, maybe even 1700. Whereas with that leaner physique that I was just showing you guys, like last year in 2020, I was probably, I think the lowest my calories went was 2000, maybe 1900. So in essence, I managed to build in my opinion, a better physique, a leaner physique, even though I'm heavier on a scale. I feel like the muscle looked a lot more tighter and more plump up. It looked a lot more pumped up, and I managed to build that physique with doing less intense cardio but more frequent sessions, and weight training less, so I had more time to recover and actually do the odd bit of cardio I may have to do to clean up. Diet was a lot better as well. I did eat a lot more vegetables. I ate more calories, at least 200 to 300 calories more than I wanted to before to get leaner. I bought a Fitbit and I started walking more, up to doing like 10,000 steps as a minimum. But even though I did build that physique, only training 4 times a week, I really do love the gym, so I kind of prefer training more frequent. You know what I mean? So I'll probably be training from now on at least still 5 days a week for the most part. Before I go, my final words to Fat TJ or Bigger TJ or whatever political correct term I should use. It's my body. I'm gonna call him Fat TJ. In regards to Fat TJ, I know the mindset of what I was. When I was actually that big, I can tell you right now, I didn't think I was that big. It was like my eyes was wearing goggles. I literally did not think I was that heavy. It was only when I started cutting when I realized, damn, I actually look pretty big, because I looked at like my previous photos. But in the moment when I was actually there in that car, I didn't think I was that big. I was like, yeah, man, man's at the end of a boat, man looks heady. I didn't realize how much fat I had on my body until I had to try and shift it. And it was a mission that time round. To lose that fat took a good while. I think it was three to 4 months, getting rid of that, all that meat on my bones. It was a lot. But yeah, that's just me talking to me. So don't take this in regards to if you're overweight or whatever. That's a different journey to me. This is someone that's already been training at this point, I think, for at least 4 years, because I didn't do my first bulk until at least I was training 3 years. So this may even be the 3-year point where I started doing a bulk. So for someone that's trained 3 years, and then this is the final result of gaining weight, and it's just too much. I shouldn't have got that far. But yeah, man, feel free to leave your comments down below what you thought of the physiques over the years. And overall, I will say this fat TJ though was the strongest I've probably ever been. He was benching like 2 plates on a bench for like 12 because he was just had so much meat on my bones. It was easier to leverage the weight. So fat TJ in that regard was a G. But I would not sacrifice aesthetics for strength. My goal has always been more aesthetics. The package I can bring to the beach and be happy with, you know what I mean? Rather than what I can lift in a gym. But that's just my preference. Anyways, people, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a little bit of a different one. But I want to kind of show you guys the ups and downs and just the whole journey of fitness. It's never ever truly linear. It's always going to have little bumps along the road where you make mistakes and potentially could have made improvements. So I want to share that with you guys. So hopefully you guys don't make the same mistakes. You know what I mean? TJ went through that, so you ain't got to go through that. Anyways, people, stay getting gains, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.
Make $1 million cash for you flatline. Make a master plan, watch it backfire.